Welcome to a deep dive by the Quiet Footnote. Today, we're really getting into a book that feels incredibly relevant. Thanks for the Feedback by Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen. You know that feeling, right? That
Yeah.
kind of internal whiplash. You know you need feedback to grow. You even ask for it sometimes. But then, when it comes, oof, it can feel like a personal attack, like it's
Yeah.
questioning who you fundamentally are. It's just this awkward, sometimes really painful spot they zero in on.
Exactly. And their core mission, I think, if you really dig into it, wasn't really about, teaching managers how to give better annual reviews. That's part of the ecosystem, sure, but their main goal was about teaching us how do we get better at receiving feedback, even when it's frankly delivered badly, whether
Yeah.
that's coming from your boss or maybe your partner or, even random comments online. It's basically a survival guide for being human in a world that's just full of opinions.
So what was the gap they saw? It seems so obvious once they say it. We spend so much time, energy, money training people how to give feedback,
Right, decades of it.
but almost zero time teaching anyone how to actually take it in effectively. It's like this huge blind spot.
It really is. Companies run endless workshops, right? On phrasing, on radical candor, whatever the latest buzzword is. But when you're the one receiving it, the default reaction is often, well, you shut down, or you get defensive, or you start questioning everything about yourself. Stone and Hean realized, look, even the most perfectly phrased feedback is useless if the receiver isn't skilled at actually hearing it, at processing it.
Which brings up some big questions, doesn't it? Like, why is it so hard, even when we say we want it? And how do you sift through it all? Separate the useful bits from just dot noise. Or maybe from delivery that just pushes all your buttons. And the big one, how do you take it seriously enough to learn, but not so seriously that it crushes your sense of self?
It's such a delicate balance. Think about it like your manager gives you some constructive criticism, but all you hear is, you're failing, full stop. Or, someone close says, I wish you'd listen more, and your brain just jumps to, I'm a terrible partner. The authors really map out this messy zone where truth, our identity, and our relationships all collide. Feedback is almost never just about the feedback. It's loaded.
Okay, so that really sets the stage. Let's dive into the tools they offer. One of the first things they do, which feels foundational, is break down feedback into three distinct types. Seems simple, but we mix them up all the time.
Yeah, and the way they simplify it is really helpful. So first up is appreciation. This is basically, thanks, you matter. It's the emotional fuel, acknowledging value, effort, just seeing someone. It's not about performance, really, it's connection.
Okay, appreciation. Got it. Like a thank you.
Exactly. Then there's coaching. This is the here's how you could improve type. It's developmental. Think, advice, suggestions, ways to get better, tackle challenges differently. It's focused on growth, looking forward.
Right, the practical how-to.
And third, evaluation. This is the here's where you stand feedback. Think of it as measurement. It gives you clarity on your position, maybe against expectations or some standard like your performance rating or, your cholesterol level. It's about assessment. And the confusion often starts right there, doesn't it? When the giver and receiver are on different pages about which type it is, you're maybe hoping for coaching, some guidance, but what you get feels purely like evaluation, like a grade, leaves you feeling stuck.
Or you really need some appreciation just to feel seen, and all you get is coaching on what you could do better next time.
Exactly. That mismatch is a huge source of friction.
Okay, this next part. This was a massive aha moment for me personally. The three triggers they identify that just hijack our ability to hear feedback. These are so relatable. Can you break those down?
Absolutely. These explain so much about our reactions. First, they talk about truth triggers. This is when the feedback just feels wrong, factually incorrect. Your immediate thought is, that's not true, or you've got your facts wrong.
Yeah, the defensive wall goes right up.
Right. You start wrong spotting, picking apart their statement. But Stone and Heen suggest shifting from wrong spotting to different spotting. Like instead of that's wrong, try thinking, they see this differently than I do. Why? Getting curious about their perspective, even if you disagree. There might still be something valuable in there.
Okay, interesting. So curiosity over combat. What's the second trigger?
The relationship trigger? Oh boy. This one's about the person giving the feedback. You might think, who are you to tell me this? Or you distrust their motives, or maybe there's just bad history there.
Right, so the messenger totally poisons the message.
Exactly. We dismiss potentially useful feedback just because we don't like or trust the person delivering it. The book really pushes us here. Don't confuse the who with the what. It argues that even difficult relationships can sometimes provide good data if we can manage to separate the two, which is
Yeah.
hard.
Very hard. Okay, and the third one. This feels like the big one.
It often is. The identity trigger. This is when the feedback feels like it shakes your sense of self, who you believe you are. A small criticism suddenly feels enormous, like an attack on your competence, your character, your worth. You start thinking, if this is true, what does it mean about me?
That's the existential dread one.
Totally. And they frame it so well. Receiving feedback sits at the collision of two core human needs: to learn and grow and to be accepted as we are. That tension is always there. The sting often means it's hitting something important, something tied to your identity.
Wow. Okay, truth, relationship, identity, just naming them helps.
Yeah.
And then there's switch tracking. You mentioned you see this everywhere once you know it.
Oh, constantly. Switch tracking is when you and the other person end up having two totally different conversations at the same time. You're talking past each other.
Like parallel monologues.
Exactly. The classic example. Boss says, you missed the deadline. You reply, you never appreciate how hard I work. Both points might be valid. Missing the deadline is an issue. Feeling unappreciated is also an issue. But they're on different tracks.
Right. You're not actually addressing the deadline anymore.
Correct. And the key insight is, it's not that you're not listening, it's that you're listening to something else, something that feels more urgent or important to you in that moment. The trick is to notice it and maybe say, okay, two topics here. Can we address the deadline first and then talk about workload?
That requires a lot of self-awareness in the moment.
It does, but just knowing the pattern helps enormously.
So these concepts, they aren't just tips, are they? They feel like they challenge some fundamental assumptions about feedback. What's truly revolutionary here?
I think the most radical idea is the power shift to the receiver. For so long, all the focus was on the giver, how to give it perfectly. Stone and Heen flip that script entirely. They basically say, look, the receiver is the one in charge. Because only the receiver decides what feedback actually gets let in. Only they decide how to interpret it. Only they decide what, if anything, to do about it. It puts the agency squarely back with the person receiving the feedback. It changes it from being something you just have to endure to something you actively engage with. You're the gatekeeper of your own growth.
That is empowering. And it connects to another point you mentioned, the idea that you don't actually have to take all the feedback.
Yes, which sounds almost rebellious, doesn't it? Especially in a world obsessed with constant improvement. But it's crucial. They stress that receiving feedback well doesn't mean blindly agreeing or implementing every suggestion. Feedback is just data, sometimes flawed data. Your job is to engage with it curiously, sift through it, see what resonates, what aligns with your goals and values, and then decide. Sometimes the right decision is to say, thanks, but no thanks, or that doesn't fit for me right now.
That gives you permission to use your own judgment.
Exactly. It dignifies discernment rather than just demanding compliance.
Okay, so alongside these big ideas, the book also tackles some common myths about feedback, things we just sort of assume are true. What are some key myths they bust?
Oh, quite a few. Let's see. Myth 1, it's mostly about the giver. We covered this, but it bears repeating. Reality. The missing skill isn't giving, it's receiving.
Right. Focus on the receiver.
Myth 2, being open-minded means accepting all feedback. Nope. Reality. Be curious, engage, ask questions, then discern. Not all feedback is helpful or even accurate. You choose.
Okay, discernment is key.
Myth 3, feedback, criticism, big one. Reality. Remember the 3 types: appreciation, coaching, and evaluation. Sometimes what you need most is appreciation, not more critique.
Don't forget the positive fuel.
Myth 4, the main problem is bad delivery. Well, delivery matters, sure, but often the real block is the receiver's triggers: truth, relationship, identity. Even perfect delivery can crash against those.
Our internal stuff gets in the way.
You got it. And finally, myth 5, useful feedback always feels good. Maybe the most dangerous myth. Reality. Often the most useful feedback feels uncomfortable precisely because it's challenging your identity or hitting a blind spot. That discomfort is often a sign it's important, not wrong.
Lean into the discomfort, maybe.
Within reason, yeah. Engage with it, don't just dismiss it because it stings.
It's striking how relevant this all feels now, maybe even more than when it was written. We live in such a feedback-saturated world.
Totally. It's like we're constantly swimming in a feedback fire hose. Social media is a relentless stream of micro-appreciations and evaluations. Workplaces have continuous feedback loops. You can't escape it. So the question becomes, how do you handle it? Do you let it crush you? Do you build walls? Or do you learn to navigate it?
And our identities feel so exposed online.
Right. The fragility of identity in public spaces is huge. One harsh comment can feel like a total indictment of your worth. Separating feedback on your work from judgment of yourself is a critical survival skill today.
And the polarization.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Polarization and relationship triggers are on overdrive. Feedback instantly feels like an attack from the other side. That skill of separating the who from the what is maybe more crucial than ever. And honestly, it ties into mental health and resilience, burnout, anxiety. A lot of it connects to how we process this constant evaluation, the permission to not take all feedback on board. That's a mental health strategy right there.
What about the next frontier, AI giving feedback? How does the book speak to that?
It's a really interesting application. AI feedback, resume screeners, writing editors, code checkers, it lacks empathy, obviously, but it can be incredibly precise. The book's principles suggest treating AI feedback as pure data. It's information to analyze, not a personal judgment. It doesn't know you.
So detach identity even further.
Exactly. Use it as a tool, explore the data it offers, but remember, it's not a human critic with context or intention. And maybe, sometimes, practice that feedback fast. Take a break from the metrics when the AI feedback loop gets overwhelming. You're still the human in charge.
If we try to sense the deeper message beyond the frameworks, what's the sort of unheard pulse of the book?
I think beneath all the talk of improvement and performance, there's a really primal question being poked. Am I okay? Am I still accepted, even with my flaws? The book implicitly acknowledges that growth is inherently vulnerable. It means letting go of old self-perceptions. Taking feedback seriously means being willing to revise your story about yourself. And that's deeply uncomfortable. It can feel like a small death, letting go of who you thought you were.
So it's not just about skills, it's about courage.
Yeah.
And connection, maybe.
Absolutely. The deepest wisdom, I feel, is that you don't solve the tension between wanting to grow and wanting to be accepted. You learn to live within it. Curiosity saying, tell me more, when you feel attacked, becomes this profound act of courage. It's not weakness, it's strength. Ultimately, it suggests feedback isn't just about getting better at things. It's about how we stay in relationship, how we navigate being flawed humans together, seeing each other's imperfections and still choosing connection.
That's beautifully put. Okay, let's try and distill this. For you listening, what are the absolute 5 key takeaways from Stone and Heen that we should really try to internalize?
All right, top 5. 1. Receiving is a skill. And you're in control. You're not just a passive target. You actively choose what to let in, how to make sense of it, what to do. Agency is key.
Okay, receiver in charge, number 2.
2. Not all feedback is the same. Remember, appreciation, coaching, evaluation, knowing which one you're getting or giving or needing changes the whole game. Clarity matters.
3 types, got it.
3. Triggers block us most. Not just content. It's often not what is said, but how it hits your truth, relationship, or identity triggers. Spot the trigger, get some distance.
Name the trigger. Useful. 4.
4, you don't have to take it all. Seriously, receiving well means engaging curiously, yes, but then discerning what actually fits and serves you. It's okay to reject feedback.
Permission to discern. Love it. And 5.
5, feedback is identity work. At its heart, this isn't just about skills. It's about building the resilience to stay grounded when your sense of self gets shaken. Growth involves expanding that resilience.
So pulling this all together, what does this mean for you, navigating your work, your life, your relationships day to day?
I think thanks for the feedback teaches us that getting good at receiving isn't about agreeing all the time or just doing what you're told. It's about cultivating the stance of open, curious discernment. It's about learning to take any comment, even clumsy ones, and see if there's raw material for your own growth in there without letting it derail your sense of who you are and what you're about.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. And maybe a final question for you to chew on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stay open to learning, open to different views, open to discomfort without losing yourself in the process?
And if you want a practical next step, maybe try starting a small feedback journal, just for a week or 2. Note down feedback you get, your gut reaction, and then later reflect on what you actually took from it. Or, next time, try asking specifically for the type of feedback you need. Hey, could I get some coaching on this? Or, right now, I'd actually just appreciate hearing what worked well. See how that clarity changes the whole interaction? It can be quite profound.